Hello, my name is Kristen Reihart, and this is my analysis of learning for TEL 102. So I thought I would begin my presentation with talking about equity literacy because it's really the base of the case studies book that we read and how to effectively handle the case studies and situations that we learned about in the book. And equity literacy is really just the knowledge and the skills that we need as educators to be a threat to bias and inequity that is in our influence. So that means that we as educators, we examine situations through a variety of lenses. We have a deeper, more critical reflection of situations. We recognize and understand subtle biases and inequalities, and we put effort into creating a bias-free and equitable learning environment. And a quote from the book that I really liked was that when we develop our equity literacy, we just naturally filter every decision that we make through that equity lens. So it becomes more natural once you learn the details and how to follow the framework. So what I know now after taking this course is that I've learned how to view situations through numerous perspectives, not just through my shoes or the other person's shoes, but from everyone involved in the situation. I have begun to recognize more subtle biases that maybe I just kind of pushed off to the side or turned my head to before. I learned that equality and equity are not the same, and I'm going to repeat that many times through this presentation because I think that is definitely one of the most important things when we think of equity. It somehow always connects back to equality, and they're not the same things at all. I know now that even traditional school activities and events can have subtle inequalities, and that we need to put effort into recognizing those inequalities. And we need to consider the perspectives such as age, socioeconomic status, religion, race, gender, sexual orientation. So we really need to make sure that the learning environment is equitable to all, not just multicultural, but through all aspects of life. And what I learned that I can teach others from this course is how to use an equity lens, how to put more effort into viewing subtle biases in the classroom and in a school setting. I can teach them to speak up when they notice an event or situation is inequitable. I can help them educate others on becoming equity literate, and I can teach them that equality and equity are not the same. So the most significant challenges that I will have going forward as becoming more culturally responsive is just to ensure that all students and families that I have are represented and respected. I currently work with children and families that are living in poverty, and the majority of that population are African American. So there are some situations that may not be as equitable for those families as there would be for other families. And then a big challenge that I think I would have is just to speak up when I notice that staff is showing a bias, or if a situation or event is not in the favor of a specific population of students. And so to overcome these challenges, I can build relationships with my students and their families to understand deeper about their cultures and their lifestyle situations. I can begin to speak up if I'm in the situation where bias is accepted. I can choose culturally competent materials for my classroom, and not just choose multicultural materials, but also materials that show a range of socioeconomic status, different religions, gender. identity, disabilities, and sexual orientations in family structures. So, to further my knowledge, I plan to take additional courses on social justice relating to education. I want to do additional readings about diversity and how to incorporate it into the classroom, because I really liked the case studies book and how realistic it was and how it helped walk you through the steps of the framework. I will continue educating others on how to be culturally appropriate, and I just want to build deeper relationships with the different families that I have and understand what makes them and their child unique and celebrate those differences. And another quote that I had from the book is that nothing is simple when it comes to diversity and social justice. And even if it's not simple, we can still do the hard things because it makes it all worthwhile. There is my reference, and thank you for listening.